Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. Um, what I call CPS is the Child Protection System. Every county in every state in the U.S. has one. They have various names: Department of Children's Services, Child Protection Services, Department of Children Family Services. But I just say CPS to make it short, the Department of Children's Services. No, I got it wrong myself. Child Protection System. Child Protection System. And so when I say CPS, I refer to you all. Also, I have a worldwide audience. I have 22 countries that have texted or followed me. And they too have a similar situation with the child protection system in their country. It's gotten just as bad worldwide that there are incidents where the children are not being taken care of or anything like that. Um, now, uh, one thing I do have some house rules or something simply when you want to text a message to me, please use this format. Use this format. Now, um, it's on the screen, and if you're from outside the United States, I'd like to see the country code. But if you're in the United States, no need to put a country code because I know pretty much. I mean, I know all the states, so there's one state I don't know. Um, I've been to most of the states anyway. I'm trying to adjust my computer. But anyway, some of these countries I've talked to, these 22 countries, are Indonesia, they're Bangladesh and India, then up to the Middle East, it's Saudi Arabia and Libya, and then to the continent of Africa, it's um, it's Europe. No, it's continent of Africa first. I'm sorry. It's got Liberia, Sudan, and then it's got Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Mozambique, and of course the provinces of South Africa. Then up to Europe, it's United Kingdom of England, Scotland, Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, it's Canada, its provinces, it's the United States, and all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. South of the border in Mexico, then further south in South America, north of Brazil. On the east coast is Grenada. Then across the South Pacific of New Zealand and the land down under Australia and its states. That's over 2,500 people I've talked to. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Um, and they all have a similar problem. Now, I just took down the banner about how to text me a message. Now, if you want to be a guest on my live stream, please email Grace. Please email Grace. She's my show producer. All you have to do is give her the 14 shows I'll be on. I want to be Bob's Sunday morning show or Bob's Friday night show. I'm on every day of the week at 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday. On the weekends, it's 8 a.m. Then in the evenings, I'm on at 7 p.m. every night of the week. And there may be sometimes I'm on different times, but that's usually my hours. And um, it's easy to be a guest because I can take 9 of you. And with that being said, I can certainly talk to a lot more people that way. So please be a guest. She'll tell you the rules, such as no profanity or eating during the show or smoking. Also, we do not use the names of children, judges, or social workers. That being said, that's all there is to be a guest. And lastly, I have my phone number up. My phone number is the number you can call me, my work phone, 626-698-0990. And I love to hear from you. I love to hear from you. Now, we have people in the room. I think that's great. We also have regular people that come in here, like my family. Some got a really Okay, we're waiting for people to come in. I got my phone number up. The other number, the 888-888-6582, is the number of the law offices of Vincent W. Davis. And you can call in there and find out when the live stream shows are to get booklets and information about fighting CPS. Also, you can talk to Mr. Davis. You can book him. He is a real bona fide uh, juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney. He has fought CPS for 39 years and gotten children back. He's also a trial attorney and he's a civil rights attorney. He has filed lawsuits and won millions of dollars from CPS. He's not afraid to fight CPS. And for LA County, his hourly rate is $500 an hour and his retainer for LA County is 5,000. But that could slightly be different because it depends on how long your case been going on and how complex your case is will determine the retainer. The retainer is the money that attorneys use to bill against, and they need to have some startup money because there's a lot of work they got to do. It is a lot of work. Fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. It requires skill and talent and knowledge because it isn't your friend. They will end up ruining what you have there. Um, we got an emoji here, which is really good. We have Johanna Kinelem Zimi. Boy, that's a really great name. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. And we also have Dorothy Cook in from North Carolina. Welcome, Dorothy Cook. She says named if a person moves to their active CPS case transfer to the county, they move to. And Dorothy Cook, it's not good evening. It's good morning for me. I know it may be 3 hours later for you, but it's like the afternoon, I think it is. Dorothy Cook. Now, you say if a person moves to do their active CPS case transfer to the county, they move to. Well, here's the thing is, if a case happens, whatever it happens, that's where it gets determined, decided upon. You can transfer your case back to your home place and use the ICPC, the Interstate Compact for Placement of Children. I don't know what you're trying to ask, Dorothy Cook, but maybe you can paraphrase that a little bit better. All right? Maybe you can paraphrase that a little bit better. And I'm so glad you're here. It's been really lonely in this room, and I'm glad that we have people here. Um, um, so, are you talking about a case like, say, you're in one county, you want to move to another county? Um, I can look that up and see what I can find. Hold on a second. Hold on a second while I look that up. Um, Dorothy Cook further says, yes, that's true, but if a family is relocated by FEMA because of a natural disaster or just lost because of a hurricane or flooding, and you're placed in a different county or city than you lived in at the time of the natural disaster, yes, I know that North Carolina had a big disaster there. And yes, the homes were gone, washed down the river or completely blown away. And they probably had to go to a new county. And what CPS was doing, they're taking advantage of the situation, say you can't live like that, but it's sad. It really is sad. But if you have to relocate, you are relocated. And your case can be relocated. Your case can be relocated. In fact, let me see what I did find here. Hold on. Now, it says here, this is really important here, Dorothy. Families impacted by hurricanes in North Carolina may require assistance from the Child Protection Service if the lack of a shelter or displacement raise concerns about children maltreatment or safety. So, um, here's how North Carolina handles such situations. State laws allow individuals to file a CPS report if they believe a child's lack of shelter could lead to maltreatment. Family preservation is key. When local departments of social service respond to child welfare reports and disasters affected area, their priority is to help families find safe housing options so they can remain together. Relocation support. County officials work to find shelter and housing programs for entire families displaced by disasters like hurricanes. State disaster relief bills also include funding to support these efforts. Hurricanes can disrupt the ability of the Child Protection Service to conduct home visit investigations, but the state implements measures like allowing virtual check ins and extend deadlines to ensure continuity of care. Focuses on the well being. Child welfare workers are equipped with resources to understand and address the potential trauma children and families may experience during or after a hurricane. They can connect families to resources for managing stress and seeking disaster assistance. Safety manner. If a child is in state custody, their placement is impacted by a hurricane, emergency funding is allocated to ensure they can be safely housed and supported. There has been no evidence of separation. While concerns may arise after disasters, no evidence that North Carolina officials have threatened to separate children from their parents due solely to lack of housing after hurricanes. Political fact found such claims to be false. If you're a family impacted by a hurricane in North Carolina and need assistance, you call 211 or visit the nc211.org website for hurricane resources. You can also apply for disaster assistance through FEMA at disasterassistance.government at 1-800-621-3362. So there's no evidence. There's no evidence of threat to keep children because of the hurricane or losing your home. There's no evidence there. Now, why do you say that as a lie? Why do you say that is a lie? Let me look at that article again here. They have a fact check. Now, let's see what the fact check says. Political fact. I was in Asheville area Red Cross facilities for 7 days. Spoke with hundreds of people and many Red Cross officials. This guy Perry told Political Fact not once did this question arise in those shelters, nor the other mountain shelters we visit. I've not heard one report of this on the ground. State law allows North Carolinians to file a child protection service report if they believe a child's lack of shelter could lead to a maltreatment. However, legal aid expert says moving children from their parents typically requires an investigation and approval from the courts. In cases in which families have lost their home to a natural disaster, such as Helene, county government officials would try to find shelter for the whole family so it could remain together, said Jones, the health department spokesman said. To support that effort, state lawmakers recently approved a disaster relief bill that includes millions of dollars for local government in disaster affected areas. Government and community agencies have the resources to help families find shelters, housing programs, and rental assistance, Jones said. When local departments of social service respond to child welfare reports, efforts will be made to assist the family in locating a safe place to live so that the family could remain together. Child welfare priority is to preserve families when this can be safely occur. Are really a man in a social media video says Red Cross is set to close shelters across North Carolina November 15th. Families staying in these shelters are being told if you don't have a safe place to take your children, you won't be leaving with them. The authorities would keep them. The American Red Cross has already closed the shelter that managed and rebutted the claims in the video. The nonprofit says it's not involved in taking custody of children. And independent lawyers helping families in Western North Carolina said they haven't heard of this happening. North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services also claimed the fake, saying state lawmakers distribute money to local government specifically to help families find shelter. Without evidence to support the claim, we rate it false. So I don't know. Um, so Dorothy Cook says that's a lie. Well, Dorothy, I know you. I do not know this political fact, but I cannot fathom that they're going to break apart families because of a hurricane. Um, I don't know too much about Hurricane Matthew in 2016. You said no help was provided. Again, I'd have to look at that. I could take your word, Dorothy, and believe everything you said. I just wish someone could call from that area. If you're listening out there, if you're from North Carolina and you suffered Hurricane, what's it called there? Hurricane Matthew in 2016. You could call on that one there. The other hurricane, um, which recently happened in November, and um, Hurricane Helene. Those are the two hurricanes I think Dorothy was talking about. And Dorothy says a family is relocated by FEMA because of natural disaster or just a loss. Well, they're put in there, but they're not taking their children or breaking the family up if they're being relocated. They have found a shelter for them. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Dorothy. Thank you so, so much. Now, Dorothy Cook says not as CPS chooses to give it, as many parents don't know and are not told of the help that is available to them and their families so they can ask for it. Well, Dorothy, I wasn't there. All I'm hearing is from sources on the internet and what may or may not taken place. I don't know. I don't know for a fact. So all I'm just saying is that I've heard of nothing about a parent lose their children because they didn't have a home for them. It's not their fault if the disaster came and destroyed their home. CPS should understand that. If they do, that should be pointed out that that's a mistake. Well, they said they did. Now, Dorothy, you're hearing one thing and I'm hearing another thing. I've looked it up and I've not seen any indication that anything was done wrong. If someone did something wrong, it would show up in the media, it'd show up in the internet. Do you have a link or someplace I go where there is some type of situation where a family that was together but were displaced because of the hurricane and then CPS took their children and decided not to give them back to them? I know it's a hard thing to deal with, um, this situation. It really is. Because we do have rogue agencies bad out there. So there could be 50% of the agencies in North Carolina are bad. If I say that all 50% of CPS is bad, then 50% North Carolina are bad. So it may or may not have happened. I don't know. They do have procedures and booklets. I worked with American Red Cross. I worked in the area of disaster assistance. I also worked with FEMA. And at one disaster that was on, I was the CEO of the disaster, and I was in charge of the headquarters. There were no bodies in this disaster. It was a terrible, terrible incident. And what happened was, is that this incident was an Air Mexico plane that collided with a Cessna plane. The three pilots or the three people aboard the Cessna where their heads were chopped off, the heads were found in the home in the bushes. And the plane crashed down the residential neighborhood and burned. All the people on the Air Mexico flight were killed, and everybody on the ground was killed. It was a really terrible disaster. And I was chair of that disaster over there in um, not too far in Cerritos. It's called the Cerritos Air Disaster with Air Mexico. You read all about it, and I was in charge of helping people find their loved ones and help people with grievance. It was a terrible, terrible disaster. Homes were destroyed on the ground and stuff. So I do have the experience of working with FEMA. And my experiences with FEMA and work with the American Red Cross in disaster have never been. I worked in numerous earthquakes. I did the Malibu fires where we rescued horses along the beach. I worked in Baywatch, which is the lifeguard facility that operates boats along the coast there in Malibu. Um, I've done the Northridge earthquake. I've done shelters where I'm the shelter manager, and I was the director of operations for the American Red Cross. So I've had lots of extensive experiences. I've taken a lot of disaster classes. I'm EMT trained, and I have a lot of background. So they do have procedures and booklets. I've seen them from FEMA. I've seen them from the Red Cross. They do have booklets. But I've not been to North Carolina, so I can't say I've been to North Carolina at Cape Hatteras. I've been down to Nags Head, down to Cape Hatteras, to Frisco Bay, to Cape Hatteras itself, the lighthouse. That whole area I'm well familiar with, but it's only in the coast area. It's only in the coast area. Now, my phone number has been up. No one's has called, and we have right now about 12 minutes left of the show. My show time. It's 11 o'clock, and that means I'll have to end my show if we don't have anybody here. because um, with no one here, it's kind of like it's hard to justify me be still going here because no one's except for Dorothy's no one talking to me. I have a second thumbs up from Dorothy Cook. Thank you, Dorothy Cook, and again, thank you, Johanna Kilda Zamin. Um, oh, you mean brochures from CPS? I never worked with CPS. All my time in disaster was pre CPS. CPS, I did not know until he started harassing me and my wife. And that started in 2010. And in 2015, they came and muscled our three children and trafficked them. And from 2015 to 2017, I fought. I did get my two boys back, but eventually I lost my daughter due to the social worker committing perjury and lying on the stand. And then she did retaliation where she forced my daughter to divorce her parents, change her name completely, get a new birth certificate, seal the old birth certificate. And she did all this at age 12. Now, people don't know these things. All she got a secondary uh, social security card. It was double dipping for my social security funds, which is illegal. Which is illegal. But the CPS is not an agency that deals with disasters. You're going to find those brochures from the American Red Cross and from FEMA. And American Red Cross has a lot of areas that they have disasters that they work in. A lot of areas. So anyway, um, I think it's about time I turn my show off because right now we've had no other people in here except Dorothy Cook. And I want to thank Dorothy Cook very much for coming in here and being with me and keeping me company. That's great. Is there anything else you can ask me, Dorothy Cook? Anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything you'd like to talk about, Dorothy Cook? Before I get ready to sign off, Dorothy, is there anything you'd like to talk about? By the way, Calix Cook is Dorothy Cook. That's her other Facebook name, Calix Cook. They get funding, Department of Health and Human Services. Yes, the money does flow. It's $1 trillion business, and it flows from the federal government all the way to the state and then to the county. But that is money that is given out per child. Like when they take a child into custody, they get 20,000. Okay, we got a call here. Okay. Good evening. And excuse me, good morning. This is Bob Pace on my live stream, Fight CPS. How can I help you? How can I help you?
Okay, I was calling because, like I was saying, they get funding. Their director, do they have like a board over the social services?
Okay.
And that board gets funding from the state, just like they get funding the FEMA. They get a certain amount of money in which they're supposed to be assisting the people in the local area to assist them with their needs or whatever when they have natural disasters. So DSS, Department of Social Services in North Carolina, do get funding. They call it North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. But our local DSS in the areas in which it qualifies for when the natural disaster occurs, they do get funding.
Now, is that funding to help? Yeah, is that funding to help with the CPS or is that funding directly? Because you see, there's lots of funding that come in on disaster. The first.
No, that's the funding to help with people that's been affected by the natural disaster.
Well,
that's why I said a lot of the things that they have available, they don't tell you. I didn't know this until after the fact. When I was asking some other, and they told me this route was allotted. When I showed someone the paper with the social worker, the director of social services, told me that they didn't have any assistance. They don't assist people that are affected by hurricanes. They don't have any assistance and didn't have any funding or whatever.
Right.
And when I showed that to some, they're like, "Ma'am, that's very wrong."
Now, Dorothy, question for you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Did you ever talk to a American Red Cross shelter manager or a Red Cross social worker there? Did you ever talk to American Red Cross?
No, I talked to someone from FEMA when I called Red Cross at the time because they was offering furniture and stuff like that. But
well,
they had no way to put it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, let me explain to you what the difference between the Red Cross and FEMA and the social services. Social service is around the clock aid to families in need. They're supposed to, by law, to help families with food, shelter, clothing, education, medical, transportation, and even a job. That's what we're supposed to do 24/7. Now, the American Red Cross has chapters across the country, and they are supposed to have a Department of Disaster Services with people trained, volunteers trained to go out into a disaster and help out with assistance for food and shelter and clothing. Also, they help out with a shelter, and then also they help out with all kinds of supplies and so forth. FEMA is a federal management board that is supposed to bring you a lot of money for low interest loans, for furniture, for things that are more substantiated than the Red Cross. Red Cross will give you, for 72 hours, they'll take care of you. But it's not complete. Now, this entity you call it in the state, the CPS entity, the other name there, is not geared up for disasters. It's not geared up to give out homes or property or things. They're not geared up. They're strictly are supposed to take complaints, investigate the complaints, and make a determination if the child is unsafe staying in that home. If the child is unsafe staying in that home, then they have a right to ask the child to leave because there's got to be danger to the child. The parents got to be fighting each other, or the parents got to be beating up the child for that to occur.
Well, in my case, they found me safe and still removed the custody of my child. So.
Well, why did they remove your child? Why did they remove your child? What danger?
I have no truthful idea as to why, but other than on one of the letters that they have on their documents that I got through getting a discovery in the court case, it says that one of the social workers got angry and she went and told her supervisor because me and her had words or whatever, and she didn't like it, and she wanted to retaliate, and she did. Shortly after that, she went and removed the custody, had a custody of my child removed from me.
Yeah, that's called retaliation. I'm sorry to say that there are bad social workers. There's bad people everywhere in this world. It's very hard to go through the forest, through all the trees to find a good person. Good people are far and few to see. They really are. You don't trust people. People will con other people, and they do it innocently at your expense.
Well, that was my thing, is that a lot of parents don't know because I didn't know at that time.
I didn't know either. I did not know the degree. Yeah, I did not know. I did not know how they're supposed to work. Now, social services has been providing me food. They used to provide me medical, but somehow when I got my social security raise, they took away the medical. So I had to shop around for many, many months. It took me almost 2 years. And I found a program under the program called Covered California. They had two programs. One that was a zero premium amount with no co-payments, and the other one was with co-payments and a small minimum premium. Now, what I did is that I wanted a particular medical group to take care of my family. So I had coverage myself because of my age. There's a program that Social Security helps you. I'm on United Healthcare, and United Healthcare is for people that are older, like 65 and older. And you pay a premium. I pay $100 a month premium. That's $1,200 a year for a medical insurance, which is really, but I pay no co-payments and I pay no money for drugs and I pay no money for getting my blood checked or things there. The other one that covered California told me that Blue Shield of California can take care of my wife and son because of the income situation, but I'd have to pay a premium. The premium is really cheap. It's about $3.12 a month for both of them. And they have full coverage. The only problem is they have to pay co-payments, like the doctor's $5, the specialist is $8, prescriptions is $3. If they, those are things you got to pay. But I found all those things the hard way. I find things sometimes the hard way. Now, my son just gave me a thing called the GP chat, the Chat GPT, and it's a really great program that really helps you search up things. Chat GPT, have you heard of it?
I haven't, but I mean,
Well, I want you to write it down, Dorothy. Chat GPT.
you say Chat GPT, right?
G as in George, P as in Paul, T as in Tom. Hold on one second, Dorothy. Hold on. Hello, this is the law offices, Vincent Davis, Bob Pace, live stream. Who am I talking to? Hello? Okay. Sorry, Dorothy. Another person tried to call in and it was probably a wrong number because I receive calls for there. To Chat GPT, yeah, that's it. Uh, Dorothy, that is an excellent. You guys should try it out. Look up the application. If you have Microsoft, go to your Microsoft Store. If you have Google Store, go to Google Store. I think also Apple has a store too. Go to Apple Store. Anyway, you get the GPT and you want to get the complete version. Now, I've heard some reports says $20 a month. Don't get the one you have to pay money for. There's a good one that is free.
Okay.
And it's so set up that remember when I was talking about I needed a computer and I couldn't decide what kind of graphics card to get? It helped me determine the difference between the 50 series and the 40 series and between a 5060, a 5070, a 5080, a 5090. Same thing with the 40 series, 4050, 4060, 4070, 4080, 4090. It also helped me decide on the computer which one to get. So I got a good computer now. So so that's what I use GPT now. And but I still went to my Chrome browser to look up the facts, as political fact about if there was complaints that the Red Cross or FEMA weren't doing their job. Now, it isn't the job of CPS to take care of you in a disaster. They are supposed to provide you food, shelter, clothing, transportation, education, and even a job. They're supposed to provide that to you if you're out of that. And they're certainly not supposed to be against you if you lost a home. They're supposed to provide you a home. Now, having a home is a precious thing. I lost my forever home in 2017. And in 2010, hold on one second here. Hold on, people, right now for a second here. I want to talk to my sons. Okay, I'll be right back with you, Dorothy. Age. Okay, I'm back on. I just had to tell my boys they're off to do it. And they're now moving the nest. They are now 25 and 19 and moving out on their own. So the rest of my family are gone away, and so it's sad. But they both have found work. They're both in school trying to finish their college degree. So they have goals, and they found a place, and they're going to be living with his friends. So four of them are living together, and they think they could do it.
Yes, they can.
Yeah,
I wish you nothing but the best.
I do. Thank you, Dorothy, for all the time you call in or you talk on my show. And I am really appreciate knowing you and talking to you. And he's so glad you came to this room. This morning, we didn't have anybody but you, Dorothy. We didn't have anybody. Oh, we had Carrie Sampson from Burke County. Can you please look a attorney that can help with my CPS case? I can try, Carrie. And hello, Denise Denson. Hello, what part of the world are you from? What part of the world? I do have some people that slipped in.
Yes.
And I don't know why you have to pay child support, Carrie, because I don't know how much income you're reporting, but you shouldn't have to pay child support. They're double dipping. They're getting money from the federal government and then taking money from you to pay child support. That's wrong. That outfit in Georgia is corrupt. Um, Let me see something real quick here. I've run over my time here. Um,
All right. Well, let me get off the phone then. God bless y'all.
yeah, you take care, Dorothy. I'm going to end the show, but thank you again. And thank you again for showing up. Okay, that was Dorothy Cook. And she was really very, very helpful there. Um, Here it is, Carrie. In Burke County, the CPS rolls um, investigates child abuse and neglect and removes children from a parent's custody when they're in danger. Child support obligations. In Georgia, parents are legally obligated to financially support their children regarding of custody arrangements. Child support order is required to establish a child support. This order is usually opened by one of the parents stating when, how often, how much a parent is to pay. Now, if a child is placed in foster care due to the CPS case, the Georgia Department of Human Services and Child Support may initiate efforts to collect child reports from the parents to offset the cost of foster care. In those situations, the child support payment are typically made to DCF, not directed to CPS caseworker. Parents' rights termination. If parents' rights are legally terminated by state, they're relieved of their child support obligations. So if your parental rights are terminated, they don't have obligations. But if you're destitute or you're low income, you should not have to pay. It is important to remember that child support in CPS cases can be complex and each situation is unique. If you're a parent involved in Burke County CPS case, it's highly recommended to consult with an attorney specializing in family law, personal legal guidance according to the website of Hobson Hobson. Now here's a website for attorneys. Hobson Hobson is in Georgia. The phone number is 770-284. Um, Well, then I have a bot that came on here, and I don't want 284-6153. 770-284-6153. 6153. So I want you to go to Hobson, Carrie. Okay? All right. Now, I got to close down because I'm well over my time. Thank you again, Dorothy, for the phone call and all your help and supporting the thing. Carrie, I already told you the information, so you need to go and look it up there. Denise Dennison, I have no idea where you're from, but hello, I know you came after the fact. And anybody else? No, that's it. So with that being said, I want to thank you all. I'm going to put up the Doge information here. That is some place that you can write to. You go to the webpage and you can send them an email about your situation if it's gone wrong and you want help. They are supposed to help, and they're at the federal level. So I'm going to start this video that I have that ends my show. Now I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please keep fighting for your child. Don't give up. I love you guys. I want to help you. God bless y'all. And this is Bob Pace signing.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your faith in